Hello, hello. I'll wait just a few more moments. I'm having some Mercury retrograde issues. My tablet won't connect. I have my notes here, but my tablet does not want to connect to my Wi-Fi. So while you guys are coming on, just give me 1 minute. And if this doesn't work, that's okay. I just wanted to show you some visuals on here. You see, I tell you. Okay, here we go. Let's see if this works. Looks like I might have to configure it. Okay, anyways, hello, welcome to Webinar Wednesday. My name is Nefertiti, and I am a spiritual teacher. Most of you guys have seen my videos, I'm sure. But I have been a certified crystal healer for, let's see, since 2013. So what is that, 8 years? I can't count, 7 years. So I have really enjoyed incorporating this into my sessions with my clients. And I've been working with crystals for all of my life. I've had a collection when I was a child. I had a lot of crystal jewelry, but it wasn't until I got certified that I really learned how to use them. And so we can get really technical and complicated with crystal healing. I mean, it's a huge healing modality. But today I'm going to give you just kind of a crash course, 5 simple ways to how to use your crystals. I'm also going to give you some tips on how to care for your crystals, how to cleanse them, and crystals that I feel like you should have in your collection, and how you select crystals, how you can intuitively select the crystals that you want to work with, right? So I was certified through the Love and Light School of Crystal Healing, and I'll leave that in the description section below when I finish this video. Hello. And I am also going to put other links to crystal healing, how to use them, what types of crystals are out there and what they do. I'm going to leave several links to those in the description box as well. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the live chat and I'll get to those. I'm going to allot like maybe 10 minutes or so at the end of the video for Q&A. And if you don't get to ask any questions during this live, you can also leave your question in the comment section of this video or in the community post that I put up yesterday in reference to this video. So let's get right into this. So crystal healing dates back over 6,000 years. We know that it was used during the Egyptian times and the Greek times, and Romani gypsies used them. I mean, crystals are found everywhere on earth. So because they're so beautiful and colorful and sparkly, people have excavated them for years, but they all have different healing properties, different vibrations that we can use for our development, for our healing, and for support on our soul journey, on our ascension journey. So how crystals work is, first of all, through intention, right? That's how everything works on this planet, on this earth school, right? It's through intention. But crystals work as conduits of energy. So a specific crystal will hold a certain vibration, and by you working with the energy of that crystal, you can tune into that vibration. So maybe you're working on abundance, maybe you're working on love, maybe you're working on healing your physical body or your emotional body. Maybe you're working on just raising your vibration in general. So you'll use specific crystals for specific purposes, and they all carry different vibrations, and everybody attunes to crystals differently. Some people really feel the energies of certain crystals, and others the energy is still felt, but it's more mild, it's easier to work with. So you decide, right? You're the person receiving that energy. So when you're selecting your crystals, even if you're doing this online, you work with your intuition. Certain crystals will call to you at certain times. So for example, when I was really going through the beginning part of my ascension journey, I found myself drawn to a lot of stones that were vibrating with the energy of transformation. So a lot of turquoise. I was led to like jaspers and snakeskin agates, and my peach selenite, which I have a lot of crystals right here. I'm going to show you those towards the end of the video. But so whatever you're going through, whatever part of your life you're in, certain crystals will appeal to you, and you can set intentions for them to support you. So crystals typically are divided, categorized by color and vibration. So the color will correspond to either one of the chakras in your body or a specific color that resonates with a certain frequency. So for example, if you're trying to attract more love into your life, you would choose green stones and or pink stones, right? But you could also choose stones that are maybe a little bit whiter or opaque, depending on what kind of situation you're dealing with within love, because love is a wide topic, right? Maybe you're trying to attract romantic love. Maybe you're trying to improve your family relationships. Perhaps you are in a relationship and you're trying to improve that connection. So you would use specific crystals for those specific purposes. All right. So when you have your crystal, let's say you found a crystal you want to work with, the first thing you want to do is cleanse it and charge it. There's lots of different ways to do this. I prefer the easiest routes, which I didn't even do when I started the video. I didn't sage myself, right? So sage is my preferred method of cleansing all of my divination tools. I'll cleanse my crystals. I'll cleanse my cards, my altar, my living space, myself, my son. But you can use a variety of methods. Some people like to use sounds, like they'll ring bells or use wind chimes. Some people just like to use their prayer and their clear positive intentions to clear their space. There's lots of different ways, but for me, I like to use smoke to cleanse my crystals. So what I'll do is I have my stone. Let's say I got it at a crystal store or I got it on Amazon. I'll cleanse it, right? And just run it right through the smoke. So this is rose quartz, one of my other favorites. And then when I charge it, I'll either use an amethyst. I have crystals on it right now. I'm going to show it to you, but I'll use an amethyst slab to charge all of my stones, or I'll use sunlight or moonlight. So just sit them in a windowsill for a couple of hours. If you're using moonlight, you want to use the full moon or as close to the full moon as you can to get that lunation. I tend to feel like the full moon energy resonates a little bit stronger with the crystals, but sunlight will do as well to charge them. You can also bury your crystals in the dirt. I don't like to do that. I don't like my crystals to get dirty. You can also, again, use your intention to charge your crystals, but the easiest way is to use sunlight, moonlight, or use another larger like piece of amethyst, or you could even use selenite, but amethyst is the preferred crystal to use to charge other crystals. And they're easy. Amethyst slabs are easy to find. You can get a nice sized one, probably like about this size, for maybe 30 or 40 bucks. I guess it just depends on where you go. So now that you've cleansed, you got your crystal, you've cleansed it, the next thing you want to do is program it. So again, when you're selecting your crystal, it's gonna, when you choose it, it's going to really depend on what you're using it for. So let's say, for example, I am using the rose quartz and I want to attract a lover into my life. So I could just hold the crystal in my hand and use an affirmation of my choosing. I now attract the perfect mate, or I now attract my divine masculine partner, right? You could use any intention, or I attract more self-love. And so you set that intention, you close your eyes and you imagine that intention going into the crystal. Some people even like to visualize themselves going into the crystal and kind of meditating inside of the crystal to really set the intention. And you can do this over and over again. You can set different intentions for the crystal at different times because they all have different properties, right? So whatever you're using that crystal for, like, for example, rose quartz is a crystal for love, but it's also a quartz crystal, which means it's an amplifier. So you can use this with other stones for healing purposes, for example, and amplify the energy of smaller stones or the other stones that it's being used with. So now that you got it cleansed, you got it programmed, it's ready for use. So There's lots of different ways to use crystals. We're going to go over 5 different methods that you can use in your everyday life. So the first one is obviously carrying the crystal, right? Like a pocket stone. And I actually use just some little satchels that I got like from jewelry or bracelets or earrings or whatever that I bought. And you can also find these at like an arts and crafts store, I'm sure, like Michael's or something. And I'll just put my crystals in here after I've cleansed them. I've charged them overnight on my amethyst slab or in the sunlight or moonlight, set the intention, and then I'll just close this up and I'll put it in my bra or in my pocket. I like to have my crystals close to me because that's how you get attuned to them if they're touching your body. And typically you want to wear the crystals on your left side. Obviously, men, you're not wearing bras. Well, most of y'all anyway, some of y'all. Anyways, I'm digressing. But you can put this in your pocket, right? But wear it on your left side because that's your receiving side. That's where you take in energy. And you can feel if the crystal is cleansed and charged properly, you can feel the energy right away. And again, it all depends on your vibration and how it attunes to that particular crystal. So that's just the easiest way. And you can wear it for a day. And then at the end of the night, you take it off. You can cleanse it, put it back in your sacred space, put it back on your altar, let it charge overnight, and then you can use it again the next day. And you can set the intention again if you like. But if you're using it and you're going to have that intention for a long period of time, I think it's okay just to set it once and then just to cleanse it. But if it makes you feel good, go ahead and set that intention again with the crystal, and you can carry it then. All right. So the second method is meditation, right? And I do crystal meditations every single day. And you can use one crystal during meditation. So let's say, for example, you're meditating on love. You can hold the crystal in your left hand if you're doing a seated meditation, or if you're lying down, you can take the rose quartz and place it over your heart chakra, right? But whatever works for you. Some people like to have multiple crystals and do like a layout. So they'll make a big circle with the crystals and lay inside of the circle. That's one way you can do it. But if you only have one piece or a couple of pieces, then you can hold like one in one hand, one in the other, and do your seated meditation that way. And you can listen to music, because anything that you do that's going to boost the vibration of whatever energy you're working with. So you have the energy of the crystal, then you have the music, that frequency coming in. It's just going to help everything, going to boost everything. So music, but you don't have to. Some people like to do silent meditation and really focus. And yeah, that's one way. And then, of course, you can do chakra meditations. And you want, typically, generally speaking, you want to use a crystal that corresponds to the color of the chakra. So for the root chakra, you would use red or black crystals. For the sacral chakra, you would use orange crystals. For the solar plexus, you would use yellow crystals. For the heart, you could use green or pink. For the higher hearts, you could use lighter green or lighter pink. For the throat chakra, you would use blue crystals. For the third eye, you would use indigo, so dark, like navy blue colored crystals. And for the crown chakra, you could use purple crystals or white crystals. Again, that's very general. As you get more advanced in crystal healing, you can use crystals in a lot of different ways on the chakras. Maybe we'll cover that in future videos, but I just wanted to give you something really simple that you can use every day. So if you're doing a chakra meditation, again, you can use a guided audio track to help you kind of just detach, right? If you're using a guided meditation with your crystals, then you can really just kind of tune out, because the crystals are doing the work and the meditation itself is doing the work. Or you can use a combination of the crystals, the sound meditation, and affirmations at each chakra. That's what I do. So I started the root chakra and I have my audio track going, a sound healing meditation for the chakra. And I'll just use affirmations. I'm grounded, I'm safe, I'm secure, I'm stable, I'm strong. And then when the music switches to the sacral chakra, then I'll use sacral chakra affirmations. I'm worthy of receiving my good. I'm emotionally balanced and stable. And you work your way up. And you could even visualize color, right? So the crystal will actually help you with that if you have issues with visualizing that. Because if the crystal is orange, you know you've seen the crystal, so you can visualize that orange crystal as you're doing your affirmations, as you're listening to the audio. So again, that's maybe a little more complicated, but that's what I've been doing that for years, and that's what works for me, and it's worked for my clients. It takes a little bit of practice to kind of do all of those things together, but you can definitely just use the crystals by themselves, or you can use the crystals and the music and the affirmations, okay? So let's move on to sleeping with your crystals. This is probably the easiest way to use them, to attune to their vibration. So again, the rose quartz, put it under your pillow. So at the end of the night, cleanse it, hopefully it's already been charged. You've put it out in the sunlight and the moonlight, or you've let it charge overnight. You can place this underneath your pillow and sleep with it, and maybe even hold it, but while you're going to sleep, and say some positive affirmations, some intentions for your subconscious mind to start working as you're sleeping on anchoring in these new intentions, right? And the crystal, because it's a quartz, this particular one is going to amplify everything that you're doing. It's going to amplify your intentions. But sleeping with it is easy because, like I said, your conscious mind shuts down. You're working with the crystal as you're sleeping, and it's for an extended period of time. So you're definitely able to benefit from the healing effects. I do this with a lot of my crystals. I sleep with crystals every night. I change them up depending on what's going on in my life or what I need to get answers to. I feel like that just kind of helps that process as I'm going to sleep. The fourth way to use crystals is for protection, for daily protection. So this could be a topic in and of itself, but you can use crystals like black tourmaline, which I've talked about in other videos. This is the premier protection stone. It's going to protect you from negativity of all kinds, electromagnetic stress. It's going to help to ground you, center you. But when you're using crystals for protection, again, I recommend that you wear them on your left side, and you want to make sure that they are cleansed and charged, because protection crystals tend to not only transmute negative energy, but they absorb energy too, to keep it out of your field. So make sure that you're cleansing and charging them on a regular basis every day. And you can use also fire agate for protection. You can use these two together. So let's say, for example, you're dealing with some hostile energy at work, or you're dealing with hostile energy at home, or you feel just not safe in general. You can use these two, black tourmaline and fire agate, protection and sending negative energy back. And you guys know these are two of my favorites. I work with these weekly. Black tourmaline I use every single day. So using these as protection, like I said, particularly in your car, I always recommend that you have protection crystals in your vehicle. If not a crystal grid in your vehicle, but definitely black tourmaline, fire agate. And another one that I would recommend is tiger's eye. And I have some, but it's buried in my pile of crystals over there. But tiger's eye protects the traveler. So definitely keep some crystals in your vehicle. Or if you know you're going into a situation where the energy is going to be hostile, right? So family gatherings, or maybe you're going into an environment that's unknown. You just don't know what's going on. Definitely have some protection crystals. We also have amethyst. So black tourmaline and fire agate are going to definitely provide you with physical protection. Protection from harm, protection from your physical environment, protection from other people. Then you have the psychic protection stones. So my three favorites are lepidolite. No, this is not lepidolite. This is labradorite. I could always say those two mixed up, but labradorite, okay? And this is going to resonate with the throat and third eye. So any of the crystals that are throat and third eye protection are great for psychic attack defense and shielding your aura from negativity. So if you're going to be in a crowd, even like really concerts, if you go to concerts of any kind, definitely have some crystals on to protect your aura, because there's just all kind of stuff floating around at concerts in particular, and bars. So getting back to the labradorite, this is great for, like I said, aura protection, repairing your aura too. If you have holes in it from maybe past drug abuse, or you were in traumatic situations where you didn't have great boundaries and you were plugged into, right? People were siphoning your energy. You can use labradorite to repair your aura, to shield it. It's also great for synchronicities. This is a stone of magic. So if you are on this ascension journey and maybe you're watching these videos and you're like, oh, I haven't had any synchronicities, I don't see the numbers, I don't see the signs. If you start wearing labradorite, you're definitely going to start tuning into the synchronicities and coincidences of life. Okay, but you'll be protected as you do this. So that's great. And then turquoise. Turquoise is great for protecting from theft. So this is another one to have in your car if you live in an area where there's a lot of break-ins like I do. But it's also great for psychic protection, from protecting you from any type of ill will, any type of like jealousy or gossip, things like that, that involve communication, the throat chakra. You're going to be protected if you use turquoise. Amethyst, of course, we all should have some amethyst in our crystal collection, and turquoise. But amethyst is another one of those crystals that's great for, like, it has a lot of purposes. It's all purpose, like clear quartz. And amethyst is great for psychic protection, particularly at night when you're dreaming, because it's great for sleep if you suffer from insomnia. It's also good for connecting to the violet flame of Saint Germain. So emotional healing. Great for addictions. So if you have, I mean, all addictions are mental, right? And we all have addictions. Virtually everybody has an addiction. And my definition of an addiction is something that has more power over you than you would like. Okay. So we all have something in our lives where we're a little imbalanced with it. Some of us, it is drugs and alcohol, food, sex, gambling, video games, shopping. For other people, it's attention. For others, it's being a victim, right? So we all have something. Amethyst will help you to identify what that is and to bring it into balance, at least to forgive yourself for being human and having these vices, right? Amethyst is also great for protection from, how can I describe it? From other people's, it's not necessarily psychic attack, but it helps you to kind of read between the lines. So if somebody, it's like sunstone. If somebody is telling you one thing and you're perceiving another, amethyst is going to help you with extracting what it is that person is actually saying to you. It helps you to see through your third eye. Another thing I wanted to mention about the fire agate too is when you're working with sending energy back, you want to make sure that you're doing it with the intention of the other person learning and growing from their error, not to harm them, not to, oh, I'm sending this negativity back to you so you can deal with that and you can be heard. And no, we're past that. You send the energy back because it does not belong to you, and so that they can get their lesson, because it's their energy, it's not yours. You don't need to get that lesson. That's an unnecessary storm that you could go through if you are not aware of that, if it's not your energy, right? Okay, so I mentioned sleeping, protection, chakra balancing is what we talked about that, okay? Crystal baths. So this is another way that you can use your crystals. And some crystals are good in water, some aren't. Typically speaking, the quartz crystals are going to be the best crystals to use in water. So that's going to be the amethyst. What did I just do with my amethyst? And I'm going to get my clear quartz. Hold on. Grab my big boy. So I have lots of clear quartz. I have, I don't know, over 20 pieces, but this is one of the ones that I keep in my space because I'll use this for a variety of reasons, right? But these are the best ones for crystal baths. Rose quartz clear quartz, amethyst, anything that has quartz in it, carnelian. You want to avoid using selenite or any of the softer crystals in water because they'll dissolve. And I really recommend that when you do a crystal bath, you're already clean. So you don't have to put any soap or solvents or anything in the water because you don't want to ruin your crystals. So you take a shower, get clean, then clean out your bathtub, and then you're ready for your bath. You can use essential oils and things like that, but I wouldn't recommend using any salt. And that's why I didn't recommend that as a cleansing method. A lot of people do that for the crystals, but salt is corrosive. So I would suggest that you use another method. So crystal baths, it works the same way. You set the intention for the crystal, and clear quartz is another all-purpose crystal that everybody should have, because you can use it if you don't have a specific crystal and you want to work with an intention, you can set the intention for the quartz and it'll work in the same way. We know quartz is used in watches and other like mechanical devices because it attunes, it's programmable. So program your quartz and then you put it in the water, you have your little candles lit, your music playing, and then you take your crystal bath. And I feel like crystals work a lot more effectively in water because they're already conduits of energy, and then the water's a conduit, and then you're mostly water. So I feel like you can absorb the frequency a lot faster, easier when you do a crystal bath. So we talked about the 5 methods. There's other ways that you can use the crystals. Lots of different ways. Yoni eggs, crystal grids, which I am going to do a video on crystal grids in the future so that you can grid your home or set grids for specific intentions at the new moon, at the full moon. So I'm going to show you now some of the crystals that I feel are essentials in the collection, in your collection. But again, you're going to decide. You decide whatever crystals are right for you. It's going to be based on how you're feeling at the time. Certain crystals will call out to you. Like if you're in a crystal store, you'll just walk towards a certain stone and you'll know you need to work with it, even if you don't know what it's called or what it does. And then there's other times when you're seeking out stones for specific purposes, for love, or if you need more money, or if you need more understanding, or if you're trying to have a baby, if you're trying to attract a new job. So lots of different ways to use crystals. So I'm going to talk to you about citrine, one of my favorites. And I have lots of citrine. This is one of my favorites because it's great for attracting cash, right? Cash money. This is also a good stone for helping you with your self-esteem issues, or if you need to feel good, it's going to just brighten your day. You can also use this as, you can use it to charge other crystals, but I prefer amethyst. But use this to bring in some coin, right? And then, of course, I talked about the clear quartz. You can use this to amplify the energy of other crystals too. So if you need more protection, you can put the black tourmaline and quartz together. Of course, you get a smaller piece, right? And then amber, this is one of my other favorites. Amber is good for children. So I have an amber necklace for my son, and he wore it when he was teething, but I'll let him wear it too when I feel like the energy is really intense out there and he needs a little extra protection. But this is great for the solar plexus chakra, for helping you to feel more confident. And it is a great protection stone too, protecting your personal power. And then I've talked about fire agate, talked about turquoise, carnelian. This is a great stone to work with right now, currently, as we're going through this Mercury retrograde, Mars and Capricorn time period. Carnelian is a stone of action and energy, sex drive. It's also great for endurance and detoxing the body. It's a great focus crystal. So I've been using this every day. And then, of course, selenite. So I have my white selenite wand here, and I have a bunch of these. And then my peach selenite. So my white selenite I use for cleansing, right? Just cleansing my divination tools really quick, or before I do a reading. And then this one I actually use on my body in my layouts. And I'll carry this at home, because for whatever reason, whenever I'm working with this peach selenite, I get very emotional. So that's how my frequency attunes to this. So whenever I'm going to work with peach selenite, I stay home. All right. So let me see if there was anything else I wanted to talk about. Okay, I think that's it. So let's look at the comments and see if we have any questions. And hello to everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you. Hi, Norma. I'm in Northern California too. I live in the Bay Area. Thank you. Thank you. I do Palo Santo too. I like Palo Santo. It just depends on what mood I'm in. Let's see. Yeah, you can use selenite too. Selenite and amethyst to charge crystals. I just personally find that amethyst, I feel the frequency a lot better with the crystals when I charge them on amethyst as opposed to selenite. But I think just do it right, what works for you, right? What resonates with you. Yeah, it's definitely important for crystals to touch your body if possible. And I didn't mention crystal jewelry. Like I always will wear my amethyst, like my little amethyst studs, they're small, but that's another way. So I guess there's 6 ways to work with crystal, is to use crystal jewelry. And you would treat it the same way. You would cleanse it, charge it, set the intention for it. So bracelets are good if you're working with lower chakra energy, because your arms are usually down most of the time. So you'll have that energy close. You can use yoni eggs. Yoni eggs are a whole nother topic. But if you are using one, I would not wear it for more than 12 hours. You can also use necklaces if you're working with like the solar plexus or heart chakra or throat chakra, and then earrings for the upper chakras if you're going to use crystal jewelry. Okay. I have lots of bracelets. Yeah, me too. Yep. Definitely makes a difference with your dreams. Another way you can use your crystals at night is to grid your bed. So you can take crystals and put them under the 4 corners of your bed, especially if you're dealing with psychic attack at night. Fire agate is good for that. If somebody, and remember what I mentioned in my last video, people are psychic sometimes and don't even know it. So if they're sending negative energy towards you in the form of negative thinking or ill wishes, even if it's fleeting thoughts, if their psychic abilities are strong because they've developed them in a past life, or they just don't know that they're psychic and they use them in this way, it could definitely affect you, especially if you're an empath. Yes, definitely. Yeah, I've ordered crystals from Amazon. I will typically get my crystals from a crystal store, or I'll go to like a fair. We have a market here in San Francisco at the Treasure Island Treasure Island Flea Market. And they always have a huge selection out there. They're only like once or twice a month though. But I have ordered crystals from Amazon if I'm doing a grid and I need them in bulk. And I have returned some crystals to Amazon too. So that's why I like using them, just because they do have a return policy. And some of the smaller stores that I've bought from, they don't have a good return policy. So I guess do what's right for you. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk to you guys about with crystals. Oh, one thing I will mention is when you're wearing crystals, you typically don't want to wear more than 3 at a time, because what happens is you start to get crystal chaos. So let's say, for example, you're working on your intuition, your psychic abilities. You could carry the turquoise, the why do I keep wanting to call this lepidolite? The labradorite and the amethyst, for example, because it's going to give you psychic protection, and it's also going to help you with all of the clairs, right? Clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance. But let's say you, for whatever reason, want to carry the amber too. Oops. There goes the amethyst. You see, he didn't like that. But you want to have crystals together of a similar vibration, because that'll just help to keep your intentions clear. If you have too many crystals on at once, the vibrations could cancel each other out, or you could get too much crystal energy and just feel anxious or a little scattered, foggy. So definitely be mindful of that. And when you get crystals, work with one or two at a time during meditation or as a pocket stone until you can really get to know its vibration and how it's going to affect you. Then you can add another crystal to the mix and create a bag, or however you want to use it in a crystal grid. I'm going to grab this off the floor. My amethyst doesn't like being on the floor. So, a lot of this is definitely working with your intention and doing what's right for you. Definitely do some research and make sure that you're buying high quality crystals, because there are a lot of fakes out there. Unfortunately, like a lot of turquoise is actually howlite, and then a lot of citrine is fake. So I typically will inspect my crystals. I know how to do this just because I am a certified healer, but there's a lot of sites that you can find a chart, and it's called the hardness scale, and it'll tell you, you'll be able to tell whether or not a crystal is what it is. But you can also take it into a crystal store, and they can tell you whether or not the crystal is real or fake. But definitely try to buy the highest quality and take care of them. So you don't want to use salt. Like I said, I don't recommend that. You can use water on most crystals except for the softer ones like the selenites and the gypsums and things like that. And use them. The more you use them, the more in tune with the vibration of the crystal you will. How am I saying that? The more in tune you'll become with the crystal's vibration, and the more familiar you'll get with how to use it, how it affects you, and how you can benefit from it. Okay? So let's see. The selenite cleanse and charge stones. I definitely know you can use selenite to cleanse. I've heard of people using selenite to charge stones, but I prefer quartz to charge because they amplify energy. So I will use either citrine, but my preferred is amethyst. But do what's right for you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of citrine is burnt amethyst. Absolutely. Now, I have an authentic piece of citrine here, and I have a fake one somewhere. I've got to show it to you, but you can definitely tell the difference. The fake ones look a lot like glass, and they're just not as luminous. They're a little duller. And there's subtle differences between the reals and the fakes. But as you get more you become more familiar with different crystals, you'll be able to tell which ones are real and which ones are fake. I would also think that if you're using crystals to open your intuition, you also want crystals to protect it. Yeah, no, that's definitely why you would use an amethyst, because amethyst is not only going to open your intuition, but it's also going to protect you. So there are crystals that you can use to specifically just open your intuition. And you're absolutely right, Sherry D. If you're using those, you definitely want to have some protection as well. So things like lapis lazuli or sodalite, those stones will open your intuition, improve your psychic abilities, but they're not going to provide any protection. So if you're working on specifically psychic development or intuitive development, then you would want to use your preferred stone and a protection stone. So like amethyst or turquoise is very protective. Labradorite is very protective. It depends. If you're working with the lower chakras, then you would use lower protection chakra stones like black tourmaline, fire agate, black obsidian. But if you're working with the upper chakras, you want to use things like amethyst. Moldavite is another good one. There's lots of higher vibrational protection stones that you can use, that you can choose from. So let's see. All right, if there are no more questions, I think we're going to wrap up here. I'll be checking back to this video and to the community post to answer any other questions that you might have. And I will definitely be doing more videos on crystals in the future and how to use them. But I just wanted to give you like a general overview, kind of a crash course, so that if you do have crystals that you own, you can start to use them in a more effective way. And you can find other crystals that you like and start to use them in your spiritual practice and in your daily life. All right. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you'd like to donate, if you like my work, you can use the PayPal or Venmo links that I'm going to list below. All right. Have a wonderful day. I'll speak to you again soon. Namaste.